Hi guys, it's Granny Tana speaking. Welcome to this FS25 tutorial video. In this video I'll show you which settings are good for beginners of Farming Simulator 25. So those are the settings that you can set for every save game and that you can always change during your playthrough. So we are here at Riverbend Springs now. I started as a new farmer, and that means the easy mode is the default. And we just go into the menu with the escape key, and on consoles you have a dedicated button for this to press. But I don't know this button. So first we start usually with having a look at the PDA map, and here we see our farm and the fields that we own. But this video is not about the whole menu, because that would be just too much, and I will make different videos about the menu, and the PDA map will be one of them. But right now we go down here where you see this wheel that is a symbol for settings, and then here we have different choices. We can save the game here, and on the other side we can quit the game, but we want to go into game settings now. And those are not the game settings where you adjust your screen and so, but those are save game related settings. And I will concentrate on those that I consider important for beginners to make your life more easy. Yeah, and you can give your save game a name. Just click here and call it somehow. Test settings or tutorial settings, for example, like so. And you can change the autosave interval. And here it's important to know that the game always only saves when you are inside the menu. If you are working on your field for 3 hours, it won't save. So if you want to have a saving happening every 15 minutes, you should go into the menu every 15 minutes around, and then it starts saving automatically. And here is the time scale. This is something that might apply to you when you are a beginner. Especially when you start a new save game, then usually you have a lot to do on the first day. And other than that, maybe you want to explore the map and get to know where everything is and so. And therefore, the basic time scale is 5 times in relation to real life time, and then the day is over rather fast. And this is good when you don't have a lot to do on a day, but especially in the beginning I always go to real time, and you can even go to 0.5 times if it's just 4 p.m. suddenly and you think, oh, I have a lot to do on this day, and then you could go down to 0.5. And then when you are done early, let's say around noon or so, with all you have to do on that day, you could either speed up the time, or you can just go to your farmhouse and sleep. And this can be changed all the time. So I adjust it very often, always when I think, okay, there's a lot to do today, then I go slower. And when I think, oh, especially in winter, there's not so much to do, I just have to feed my animals, and then I'm good to go, then I go for a faster speed. And it can go up to 360 times, and then it's really fast. Then we have the economic difficulty, and this difficulty is only relevant for the prices that you get and that you need to pay. So the price for 1,000 liters of wheat depend on the economic difficulty. And we have easy, normal, and hard. And for the beginning, I would always recommend easy. And then we have the traffic. This is the AI traffic, so cars driving around on the map, letting it feel more alive on the map. This is switched on by default, and you could switch it off. So if you are good with driving, then I would say just leave it on. But if you have difficulties with driving, or you want to drive a certain way with a larger big combine, then you might better switch it off. But nothing happens. So if you have a car crash on the map, nothing happens. Sometimes you get stuck, but there won't be any. So your machines don't break, and nobody is hurt, and nothing in this regards happens. So let's go on. Then there is the seasons. I already made a dedicated video about how to switch off seasonal growth, and the default is it's switched on, and I would say just start with it switched on. Then you can get a feeling of how the game is meant to be played by the makers of the game. So, and if you don't like the seasonal growth, restricts you to, you can sow certain crops only in certain months, and then you can harvest them only in certain months. So the harvest time is mainly in summer and to autumn, depending on the crop that you are growing. And first in FS22, I didn't like the seasonal growth because it was somehow limiting me for my feeling, and it was a new base game feature then. And yeah, then slowly by slowly, I got to like it more and more. And when I play for myself, I like to play with seasonal growth. And you can always switch it on and off, but the days per month that you choose, that you can also make longer, they only apply when a new season starts. So this is the next thing. And yeah, the default is 1 day is 1 month. And if you play around with the time scale, for all normal single player situations, 1 day per month is okay. It could become a problem if you are so big and experienced that you own all the fields on the map. Then even with real time, 1 day per month could be too fast. But then when you are finally owning all the fields on the map, then you will be quite experienced, and then you can decide on your own whether you need more days per month or not. if you are not experienced and you go for, some people, they go for 28 days, which is the maximum. And then they wonder why nothing happens. You don't get milk from the cows because it takes so long, 28 in-game days, until they produce a certain amount of milk. The crops, they don't grow for your feeling because it takes 28 in-game days just to sprout a little tiny bit. And same with the greenhouses. No pellets with your vegetables are spawning because it takes so long. And therefore, in the beginning, when you don't know what you're doing, stay with 1 day per month. And then, when you know what you're doing, for example, in a multiplayer server that is running around the clock and it's never closed, then this might be better with several days per month. But you need experience to decide what you are doing. Yeah, and here are some other things. I go deeper into this in the topic switching off the seasonal growth. Oh, with the seasonal growth, there is one trap that you might fall into. Yes, is the normal? No, you can sow whenever you want and harvest whenever it's harvest ready. And there is paused. And then nothing grows at all. So this is even worse than 28 days per month. And yeah, because you just stop everything from happening. And yeah, it could be a good idea to, if you own the whole map and it's harvest time, then it might be a good idea to stop the growth for a while, because then it won't wither your crops. But yeah, this is a reason for a lot of support questions. Okay, so now fixed visual month means even when it's December, it looks like June, for example. You can choose different months and it always looks like in this month. And the default is off, because then in January it looks like January, in March like March, and in June like June. And you can switch off snow and switch it off and on if you want to have snow in winter or not. And here now we come to the important settings for beginners that I would recommend to change. This crops and growth. And as a new farmer, you start with periodic plowing required off, so you never need to plow. You are allowed to plow, but it's never required. So this is already off. And I would keep it off for a beginner. And I would also set crop destruction at off. Crop destruction means that if you own a field and it is harvest ready and you drive on this field with your tractor, where you are driving, the crop is destroyed. And especially when you work with a helper and you have to unload the harvester with your tractor, the helper usually stands in the direction of the crops, and then you would need to drive there and you always destroy your crop. And it's much easier to play without crop destruction as a beginner. And then we have field stones. I switch them off too. And I'm no more a beginner. I play since FS17 and I play every day. But I'm not so much into the tedious hard work on the field, so that needs me to drive 8 times around the field for every crop cycle. I prefer less times driving on the field for each crop cycle, and fieldstone is one of them. When you have fieldstones activated through cultivating or plowing, there appears stones on the field, which is normal. Not in every region. Some regions don't have the stones. In our regions, half of the field is made of stones, so it can differ a lot. And here in the game, you only get some stones on the field, but if you let them rest on the field, the next time you go around the field with a machine, this machine is destroyed a little bit. And it's destroyed faster than without the stones. And therefore, if you have fieldstone activated, it would be a good idea to buy a machine to collect the stones. And then after plowing or cultivating, you go over this field with this machine and collect those stones. And yeah, it is an interesting additional work step for advanced players, in my opinion. And then we have lime required. Lime is needed in farming to raise the pH of a field. So when you grow a crop there and you harvest it, the soil tends to get a little bit more sour. And the more you grow and harvest and grow and harvest, and especially when fertilizing a lot and such, the soil gets more and more sour, and that is not good for the fertility of the soil. And yeah, the soil is suffering when it gets more and more sour through repetitive growth cycles. And therefore, in most regions, it is good to put lime on the field from time to time. In Farming Simulator, you need to do this every 3 years, but already in the second year, you lose a little bit of yield when you don't repeat it every year. And when you switch off this lime topic, you don't need to take care of this. And I think for a beginner, it's good to just switch it off. And then when you feel more ready for more complex tasks on your field, you can always switch it on and then just work with it. And I have it switched off most of the time, because here in our region the soil is so alkaline, that is the opposite of sour, that nobody ever uses lime. So it's not that you need lime everywhere where you could grow crops, but it depends on the region, on the natural soil. And here we have this lime somehow saturated in the rocks and stones and in the ground and in the water, and therefore we have too much of this, and somehow it feels a little bit strange for me to use it in the game. But yeah, this wouldn't hinder me at all to use it. So it's not absolutely, but somehow it feels like unnecessary because I'm not used to it in my region. And that might feel different to you, but nevertheless, as a beginner, I would switch it off. And then we have weeds, and I would also switch it off if you have it on. Weeds grow usually only when you did plowing, then no weeds will come, but in every other situation they grow, and if they are small you can use a weeder that removes the weeds, not manually but not with chemicals. And if they are bigger, you would need to have a sprayer with a herbicide. And this is just one more task on the field. And as a beginner, it's good to switch it off. And then when you get the hang of all the other things that you still need to do, what you still need to do with all this off is you need to cultivate the field. You need to fertilize twice, you need to sow, and you need to harvest. And this is already a lot to do. And then when you feel ready to do more on the field, have more work, then you can switch it on one by one. So it's not at all a recommendation for all the time, but to make your life easier in the beginning, because Farming Simulator is a complex game, a real complex game. So, and here are still some other points in this list, but I think I already showed you enough, and those other things are not so much related to beginners. Maybe whether AI workers buy or not buy, but this is a topic for different tutorials. I wanted to show you this area about the crops and growth mainly, because I think it's important. I know a lot of players that are completely overwhelmed in the beginning, and when you have switched everything off that is possible, then it's manageable to play. It's not really easy if you are completely new, but you can get the hang of it, and then slowly by slowly you can make it more complicated to you and enjoy it. Okay, so that's about making your life easy with game settings. If you want to buy FS25 now, I would be happy if you use my Granny Tana order link for PCs. The link is in the video description below. This allows me to make the videos earlier. Now I wish you a wonderful day, thank you for watching, and all the best till next time. Tschüss!